Good morning. How are you? It is Wednesday morning, just after 11 o'clock. I'm Lee Med, and welcome to the latest in our series of DGChamber webinars in association with our great partners. Today, no different, a fantastic local business that really can revolutionize the way you do business online. Delighted to say I am joined by the creative director of Hoggett Creative, good friend of the Chambers, good friend of mine, Simon Woolley. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm great, mate. I'm great, absolutely great. Thank you for taking the time. Creative director. Sounds rather fancy, if you want to be honest.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But let's talk about that for a second. What exactly is a creative director, and who are Hoggett Creative?
Hoggett Creative, we're a design, print, web, branding, a creative agency. So if it needs designing, then we can help you do that. So whether that's online, whether it's on print, signage, displays, exhibitions, you name it, we sort of cover all of that. So really what we do is become like a brand ambassador. So we look after your brand, whatever form that may be.
You mentioned brand there. I know we're going to touch on it in just a couple of minutes, but what exactly, if I was coming to you for a professional service and I said, look, I think I know what my brand is, but what is my brand? What is a brand intrinsically?
Everybody think of a brand as being a logo. The logo is a small part of it. So now your brand needs to be, you know, your colours, your consistency. I've touched on this a little bit in the presentation, but it's more than just a logo. A logo is part of it, but it's a lot more. And especially now today's climate, you know, it needs to be a lot more than just a logo. So, but I can touch on that, and we'll show some examples and some ideas. But yeah, so my job as creative director is really just I oversee projects now. My background is always been a graphic designer. It's all I've ever done since college, university, and then worked for some major clients, Cadbury's, Mr. Kipling, Bentley Motors. So big experience, but yeah, so really oversee projects, but graphic design is in the heart. That's all I've ever done, and that's my passion. So they say if you find a job you love, you'll never work again. I love what I do, so you know, quite lucky.
Quite lucky we are. Going to I'll tell you what, let's look at everything that we're going to talk about this morning. So we are going to touch on brand, but most importantly, I think we're going to look at how that brand actually translates online. Here we are in what we keep referring to as the new normal. There is nothing normal whatsoever about this. It's a new way of working, and this is what we're discovering just now for so many businesses, not just across Dumfries and Galloway, but across the UK and indeed across the world, for the next few months, the next few years, however this is going to end out. Realistically, our shop front is going to be our website. And if you're anything like us at the Chamber, we've got a website, it's there, it does a job. But realistically, is it A, fit for purpose, and B, how does it reflect on our brand? Hopefully today, with the help of Simon, we'll be able to answer those questions and explore so much more. So Simon, at this point, I'm going to say, take us through. Let's talk websites.
Right, what I'll do is I'll just share my screen with you. Hopefully you can all see that okay. Just a bit of a presentation and some ideas and some notes as we go through. I can share this at the end as well. Quite happy for people to request a copy of it. I've got it in the PDF format. There we go. So yeah, as the introduction, I'm Simon. Owner of one of the owners of Hoggett Creative. So today, really, we're looking at online websites, and really, what we always do is we always split down and say, well, there's two types of websites, really. It is a brochure site or is it an e-commerce. And the difference between the two, a brochure site for us is it can be inquiry forms, it can be linking to booking systems, it's images, it's videos, it's content, or it's e-commerce. E-commerce is where you take payments. And that's where we always, you know, do you need to take payments or is it a brochure site? And that's where it splits for two. The difference between the two is it's different platforms. So we use an e-commerce system that manages invoices, delivery notes, taking payment. So it's built slightly different. So we always, at the start of a project, always ask, is it a brochure site or is it an e-commerce? Yeah, so who are we? Small but mighty design agency. So yeah, so we do print, exhibitions, social media campaigns, websites, video production, photography, you name it really as a creative agency. We can do one small part of that, or we can do all of it. Some clients we just do social media campaigns, some clients we just do photography, some clients we manage everything. We've got a client that we manage in 7 different languages and we ship things all around the world. A project this afternoon I need to work on is a Russian brochure. Not the easiest thing to do, but yeah. So yeah, so all sorts of projects, large and small, from small builder to a large worldwide company. So branding, you know, Lee's already asked the question, you know, what is a brand? So it's making you stand out in a wide competitive market. Your brand is what people see. It's more than just a logo. It's the colours, it's the fonts. You know, we've said this over and over, it's consistency, consistency, consistency. It's making sure that the typeface is consistent, the colour's consistent. We worked with a company and went to see them, sat in the boardroom, looking out the boardroom window. There was 6 vans sitting in the car park. Each of them had a different blue on their logo. Each of them had a different font. When they looked into the system, they've got 16 different variants of one logo. So it's been consistent. And then once you're consistent, people get to realise and recognise that brand. So whether it's on a website, whether it's on the side of a van, whether it's in a press campaign, an advertising campaign, or a pop-up banner at an event that you might be sponsoring, you know, people get to recognise that brand and recognise the consistency. You know, but also your brand needs to you need to think about who it's aimed at, who's your target audience.
Simon, can I just jump in there and just ask a question about brand? Because I know obviously lots of new startup businesses across Dumfries and Galloway want to get on them, want to have the idea of, I've got my business, I just want to get out there. I need a brand, I need an image, I need something. And probably 9 times out of 10, they'll just jump online, they'll do a search, whether it be a builder, whether it be a taxi firm, and they'll just grab a pretty generic image of Google Images or something to that effect. Firstly, can you do that to get up and running? How much trouble would you be in if that's actually somebody else's logo or somebody else's brand? And is there a risk you run with so many generic images that are out there of actually damaging your brand because it could also be used by somebody else around you?
Yes, you can get into trouble. All images, all content, logos are copy protected. Designers Copyright Act is basically, if a client comes to us and we either produce social media campaign or a logo or photography or video, that belongs to us creatively until the client pays their bill. As soon as they pay their bill legally, that automatically transfers over to the client. Some photographers keep the royalty. Used to be a big thing with photographers for weddings and stuff. They would keep the royalty to photographs. So you had to go back to them to buy prints for the photos. Now that sort of changed as well, where most give out digital versions of their images. So that sort of changed a little bit. But yeah, legally, you know, you can copyright and you can trademark logos. I had talking to a client a couple of weeks ago, and they were thinking of doing that. And I said, well, you can do it. It's expensive, but the big question is, if somebody was to copy your logo, how damaging is it to your business? And do you have the funds to be able to fight that through court? And, you know, they're looking, you know, lawyers, £290 an hour or something ridiculous. You know, do you have that money to be able to, if you don't, then what's the point in protecting it? Just make sure that, you know, you do everything you can to make sure it's your content and it's, you know, your brand and it's your consistency. As in using images from Google. Yeah, if an image is out on the public domain, it depends on where you get it from, is whether it's protected. There are stock sites you can go to get images. The worst thing I hate seeing is when people do a social media post and it's got, you know, the watermark of the image library over the top because they've just taken it off it as a screen grab or something. You know, images used to be expensive to buy. they're not as expensive as they used to be anymore. We buy subscriptions to image libraries, and we get X amount of credits per month, and that's where the majority of our stock images come from. Or we go and we'll manually do a photo shoot. Depends on what it is, whether we can physically do the photograph, whether there's cost to do a photo shoot, or whether it's a case of just not worrying and we just go onto stock. But what problem is with stock images, there is a chance that somebody else could have that image. When if you do your own, get a photographer in, whether it's also you bring your own photographer in, or even use your mobile phone, you know, then it's your image, it belongs to you. So yeah. So yeah, next slide really is leading off from that is sort of personality. This thing is really saying that, you know, contact and sales can be blind. Personality, especially at the moment, you know, when people are used to having people walking through into their business to see you, or they're used to walking into your shop, it's that personality. What we need to do now is, especially at these times, is anything you do, whether it's through print, whether it's through social media, whether it's through a website, is you need to add personality. People need to always say people buy from people. So that's one thing that we're trying to do is talk to customers about that, add that personality to it. And through that, you know, you do that to communicate with your customers, build a relationship, let people know who you are, introduce them to your team, do team profile pages, build a relationship. A good way to do that, we're working with the clients at the moment. We're building case studies for them. So that shows evidence of projects they've done. They're going to be available on their website. Testimonials, get clients to shout about what you've done for them. If they've been really happy and you've made a big change in the way they work or their business, get them to do a testimonial. You know, nothing's better than looking and seeing praise from a client. And it gives a personality, because it shows that somebody's worked with you, but it also builds that relationship, and it builds evidence that you can do what you say you can do. Blogs are also a good thing now. Good way of sharing tips and advice. The good thing about blogs is it also helps with your SEO, because it's content, it's new content. We're saying to people at the moment that, you know, certainly the way you do searching for the internet now is changing. A blog is a good way to ask a question. FAQs as well. It's building the knowledge. It shows that you know what you're talking about. It's a good way to resource. It's a good way to build content, and also video. I always say to people, what's the second largest search engine in the world? And that's YouTube. You know, use YouTube correctly, use the correct tags and stuff. It helps. Once again, adding personality. So that's all a way of building trust and communicating with your clients. You know, you get a good case study, you can shout about it on your website, you can print it out if you're sending out brochures, you can use it on your social media. You know, now it's just so many different ways of doing stuff now, but it just builds that relationship. Be responsive. Surprising how many websites aren't responsive. So this is some idea of some figures. 60% of websites are viewed on a mobile device, and only 20%. You know, we design a website. We design it in 3 different formats. We normally design desktop first, but we're always thinking, how does that work on a mobile? How does that work on a tablet? So that's the big thing now, is making sure you're responsive. It helps with your SEO. It helps through Google. When Google's out there checking your site out, you know, one of the big things is it mobile responsive? You know, we'll do slideshows, for example, or special features on a website that work well on a desktop, doesn't work well on a mobile. So we always sort of thinking about, well, how does that look on a mobile? People now, it's just so used to grabbing your phone out of your pocket and using that. So yeah, make sure you're responsive. So many sites aren't responsive anymore.
Well, I was going to say, Simon, is just roughly, if you have an old site, a legacy site, if you would, maybe you've bought a business, maybe your business has been going for quite some time, and you have this site that was just set up for the sake of, I needed a website. Is it easier in many cases nowadays to essentially start from scratch and build a whole new site, rather than go back and try and make a legacy site compatible?
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. It's a bit like buying a house and then deciding to turn it from a bungalow to a 3-story house. The foundations aren't there. You need that foundation to build it up, and it's different programming. And so yeah, a lot of people go, but I spent a lot of money on a site, and it's no longer responsive. It doesn't work. It's not responsive. We're not getting into, we're not seeing on Google. We spend a lot of money for AdWords. We're not getting any results. So yeah, when it needs to be responsive, and it's also, you know, you need to think about your upload speeds and your download speeds and how it's optimized. There's so many things now for the SEO side of stuff, which is so important. And if you're not ticking all the boxes for that, you know, then it doesn't work, and you won't get the results you need. So unfortunately, it's like everything, you've got to keep up to the times with it. You know, people buy a new car every 2 or 3 years. It's the same thing with your website. It's old technology. You need to be up to date if it's a key part to your business. But then we've got sites out there that have been out there for quite a few years and are still performing well. But it's down to who you're targeting and who your audience is, and how you're trying to communicate with them. Yeah, we've touched on this already, but social media, you know, you've got to be active on your social media. You've got to be seen. So I don't know what the percentages are. People now that map users on social media. You've got to interact with your customers, especially now. You know, there's a lot of people that are on furlough. Unfortunately, they're not working. They're sitting on the mobile phones in between trying to homeschool the kids. Yeah, be social. Let customers know you're still there. Talk to your customers. Even it's just reminding people you're there. Even if you're not working at the moment, still interact with your customers. You know, and the other thing is who are your customers? A lot of people don't know who their customers are. We're working with Galloway Glens at the moment. I'm producing a series of courses for them. And one thing we're looking at is how you create a customer profile. And this is basically creating an ideal customer. And then so you know that you know, are you aiming at a younger generation, an older generation? Is it, you know, female products? Is it male products? Is it, you know, there's so many different questions on who you're sort of aiming at. Then that's quite an important thing to do. So many people don't do that. Or you might have a business where anybody can be open to it. It could be a gift shop, and you're open to every single customer. You know, that's brilliant. But if you're not, if you're a particular sort of product, particular sort of customer, you need to know who that is. You need to have some way of knowing who you're targeting. We did work for a restaurant, and we put a lot of stuff into social media for them. And it was quite interesting that it was about 74% of people that interacted with them on social media were female. And they were between the ages of, I think it was 26 and 34. So we knew when we were doing future advertising campaigns that was a big target audience. So we needed to aim at that sort of target audience. We also knew who wasn't interacting. So we need to also look and saying, well, if we're not aiming at, you know, this people, then how do we hit that target we're not hitting? So there's a lot of data available now, especially if you can link your site up with Google Analytics. Use that data and keep researching and moving forward.
All that stuff. I was just going to say, this slide's jumped up here. It's kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say, you're talking about all this data, Simon, that you can get there. It does sound pretty scary when you look at it all. If people are unsure about that, I take it they can just give you a call, they can send you an email and say, how do I get my head around all this in plain English?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but once you break it down, you know, we can do an audit where we do that research for you, and we, you know, you look at your competition, see what they're doing, look at sort of, you know, if you're a high street brand, you know, whatever your company is, there's always ways to look and see what you can do and how you can improve it. Or it doesn't need to be scary. You know, there's a lot of stuff you need to do, but it's not as scary as you might think. It's just planning and organising and making sure the data's there. The data is easy to capture. So many people don't link their sites with Google Analytics. You know, so yeah, so we would always recommend to do that, because then the data's available. and then you know what you're dealing with, basically. So yeah, so you know, a big thing at the moment is we're working quite heavily with e-commerce sites. You know, unfortunately, a lot of businesses have had to close down. They still need to make an income. They still need to reach their customers. So e-commerce, you know, people go, oh, I'd like an e-commerce site, but it's so scary, or it's so expensive, or I just can't afford to do it. It's not as, you know, it's not as bad as you might think. So yeah, question here, it's Emma's birthday. Where can I get her a birthday present? It's not a case now of walking down the high street and just choosing what shop you want to go to. So there's a lot of people out there with businesses. I've got a shop full of products. How can I sell them? You know, and e-commerce is there to do that. So there's different platforms with e-commerce. So basically, the best way I always describe e-commerce is you develop on a platform. The platform is there to manage orders, manage delivery notes, manage, you know, the way it manages stock. You know, we've not developed our own system. There's not many people out there that have. We use a larger platform. It's an open source platform. There's WooCommerce that's WordPress based. There's PrestaShop is the one we use. We also can use WooCommerce. The Shopify, which is more of a do-it-yourself sort of platform. They've all got their ups and downs. It's dependent on what you like to develop on, and you know, the big question is which is right for you. So we always have that conversation. The sites we're building at the moment are on PrestaShop. We're also looking at the moment for 2 sites that are going to possibly be WooCommerce, because there's a certain function that we need that site to do that possibly isn't available to do that with PrestaShop. So it's just making sure that, you know, it's like everything. We need to plan. We need to ask the right questions. Have that conversation first on what do you want that site to do? Who do you want to target? How do you want to target them? And that's what we sort of do first. So there's a lot of pre-meetings first, and asking those questions. And like everything, sites can change, and the way you manage your sites. We've just built a site for Hetland Garden Centre. From our first initial meeting with them to what they've got now, it is totally different, but we've been able to change it, modify it, and make it work for them. Because a lot of people haven't got any idea how they're going to use it until they start to use it, and then it's just changing, adapting it to making it work. It's not a case of there's your shop, go away and use it. You know, we'd work with them and develop it to suit. Yeah, so like I say, PrestaShop is one that we like to use. It's an open source platform. It basically, it's the base system is PrestaShop, and then we use modules that plug into it. So graphic themes and templates. It's all secure. It's got a large amount of community members and contributors and support. It partners with all the latest Google and PayPal and MailChimp and Facebook and all of that. So it's a good stable platform. It's good support. We just like it, but we can use WooCommerce as well, which a lot of people that know about. But it is just one system that we do like to use. So yeah, benefits of an online shop. The biggest thing is you're open 24 hours a day. You know, there's nothing better than when we first develop a site and we keep an eye on things to make sure it's all working properly. You know, you're coming on a morning, you go on and make sure everything's still working okay, and there's, you know, 30 orders sitting in their in basket waiting for them to process, and basically people are buying. You can see that they're buying from, you know, as soon as they've had the dinner and the kids are watching a bit of Disney Plus before they go to bed, and the parents are on there doing a bit of shopping, you know, all the way through till 1-2 o'clock in the morning. You're open 24 hours a day. You know, and once again, we've talked about brand, but you make sure your store is consistent with your brand. So the logos, the colours, the typefaces, you know, attract your visitors. There's a good way. So for Hetland Garden Centre, we've been able to set up. They've got a lot of offers, multi-buys, buy one get one free, discounts. Setting up that sort of stuff, so that draws customer in. Then using that through Facebook to promote it. With Hetland, we're working with Dumfries and Gallery What's Going On. They're managing some Facebook promotions for them. We're using Google Pixels to manage that and see how it all sort of works, and abandoned carts, and there's lots of stuff going on in the background to draw customers in. Trade accounts, you know, if you've got a product and you want to offer that to trade, you can say, well, okay, 20% discount to trade customers. You know, if you're a food producer and you sell to general public and you also want to sell to trade, then you can do that. They log in, you put them into a trade account, and they automatically get percentages off. And that's a good way to also reach out to other customers. You know, we've talked about using Google Analytics. PrestaShop's got good stats in the back, so you know, you can see what products people are searching for. You can see what devices they're searching on. There's a lot of stats there available, so you can see what products have been searched more. You know, you can also, one good thing is you can say, well, we're selling loads of product A, but product B is not really selling very well. If you've got that product sitting there and you can say, well, let's do a promotion on that. Let's do a flash sale. Let's knock 20% off for a week. You know, you can quickly add your products. So at the moment, we're doing everything remotely to keep everybody safe. So through remote training, remote support, we can use screen sharing, or we use Zoom or Google Meet. We can easily train people to use the site. So you get a product and you think, I need to get that on my site now. It's just come in, get it on the site, get it live, promote it through Facebook, get people buying it. One good thing at the moment we've done with Hetland is their shop now automatically synchronizes with their Facebook shop, and it simply updates every half an hour. So you add a product on there, it's automatically onto your social media. Good way to retain your customers, let them know what products you've got. Yeah, so that's for us the benefits of it.
Simon, I'm just going to jump in and ask a question here. You said it's great that you can track all these different things. It can see what carts have been abandoned, what people have been looking at. Is there functionality within these systems to actually add your SKU lines in there, so you could actually use that as almost as an inventory system? So if you know you've got 40 units of that, when somebody actually buys one, it'll automatically take it down to 39, because there's nothing worse than doing a buy one get one, and all of a sudden you discover there's actually only one left in the unit. Will these websites be able to manage that as well?
Yes. Yeah. Some sites we do. They have basically in the back end of the site, it's zero stock, but the customer doesn't see that. So if you know you've got plenty of stock, or if you make something yourself and you can make to order, or if you know you've got limited stock, then you can manage your stock through that. There's also ways to link in with EPOS systems, so that also manages stock. Yeah, it's simple. It's once again, it's part of the process we would go through to make sure we're building the site correctly for you. And that's one of the questions we ask: do you want to manage your stock? You know, but then what you can do is you can also manage back orders, so they can get a notification and say, well, actually we can back order that and we'll ship it out in a week. Or you can do it where you can get notification through email and say that product's now back in stock, go in and buy it. So one of the things is with an e-commerce, you know, are you selling locally or are you selling worldwide? You know, the e-commerce sites can manage that. So you can choose the way you dispatch, whether you're sending out through a courier, through post office, whether you charge a fixed rate or whether you charge by weight or by size, totally up to you, and what your product is. Some people do a flat rate. For example, $4.99 delivery. Some people do free delivery if you spend over £50. Totally up to you. And once again, that's part of the process we would go through to see how you do that. At the moment, which is working really, really well, is the click and collect and the local delivery. So with click and collect, you can just say click and collect and you just go and pick it up. What people are doing at the moment is they're saying, well, okay, it's going to be business hours. They're setting their hours of when they do that. They can set a time scale, so to give you a chance to get it ready. So you can say, well, time scale would be click and collect can't be collected before 24 hours. So if you're ordering now 11:30, it'll be 11:30 tomorrow before you can go and pick it up. And then also offering time slots. So for Hetland, we've done it that they've got 6 slots every half an hour, because they know that's what they can manage with people turning up to collect. So at the moment, we're changing that day by day as we need to. It's not a case of why that's what it's set at and it stays like that. But it's managing for the times to keep the staff safe and to keep your customers safe. So it's all changeable, and then you've got your local delivery. So whether you're charging a flat rate and you charge free delivery locally, or whether you charge a fixed rate to charge. So we built a site for Patterson's Fruit and Veg. They charge a flat rate of £1.50 with 50% going to the NHS. For Hetland, it's calculated on a mileage, so it uses your postcode and it charges a set amount per mile, and it calculates that for you, and everybody gets charged differently. It depends on how you want to run your business. Like you say, we keep saying it's not a one size fits all. We build it bespoke to what you want to use and how your business works. One of the big questions we always get asked is the payment gateway. How do we take payments? They're always a fee. There's always a fee for taking payments. So on the screen, there's some examples. PayPal, 2.4% plus 30%, 30 pence per order. We're using Stripe at the moment on some of them. Lower percentage and lower fixed fee. I think with PayPal, you can pay a monthly fee if you're putting a lot of orders through and it brings your percentages down. Or it could be with your merchant provider if you've got a card machine, and then that's a monthly. Although I haven't spelled monthly right on that, have I? Plus a fee, a spelling mistake there. I just spotted. Yeah, so if you've got a card provider, we've just built a site for a lady that does. She's a UK sales agent for a French cosmetic company, and in there they've got a shop and they've got their own card merchant. There was a fee to use that. I think it was about £280 for the module for that to work, but the card provider paid for that. They said, we're happy for us to take that cost on, and they've paid for that. And their percentages are lower than 1% with no fixed fee. So there's difference, but that's once again, it's a conversation we have to see what works for you. End of the day, people know Stripe and people know PayPal. People trust PayPal. What works for you, but obviously you have to think about the fees involved. You have to think about how much it's going to cost you per item you're selling. You can do cash on collection, you can do trade accounts. We're also looking for another customer on a lease partnership. So say you're buying a product, it's £1,000. There'll be options there to do that on a lease, and then you can pay that monthly, and that working directly with a lease partnership on that, and all the figures all get calculated. So once again, I keep saying this, it's all about how you want to work your business and how you talk to your customers and how you sell to your customers, and making it bespoke to that. I touched on it already, but Facebook, the shop integration, it works really, really well. So you don't have to automatically upload your products from your website to Facebook. It all integrates over. You can integrate with MailChimp. If you're doing an offer on social media or on your website, let the two talk together. At the end of the day, it's the two need to work in side by side for people to know it, you're existing and what your offers are. So use your social media to your advantage. Use your Instagram, use your Twitter, use your Facebook. Be sociable, and that will increase sales. But the other flip side of that is some people aren't on social media. You also need to think about how you're going to target people that aren't on social media. How do you let your customers know if you're a business that's currently closed and you still want to sell your product because you've got a shop full of products? How do you reach your customers? Do you have any data from your current customers? How can you use that data on your site? Can you link that into MailChimp to send emails out? Can you do a postal campaign? We do mail shots for companies, so we could take your database of customers and do a mail shot direct to them through the post. And that's the way of saying we are open for business. The website is there, up and running. We are doing click and collect. Think about how you contact your customers.
And I think sometimes people forget about the importance of that traditional mail shot, don't they, Simon? Getting something through the post, because nowadays post is usually just bills, and more bills. So when they do get something different in their hands, drop it on their through the letterbox on the mat, they'll take that time to have a look at it. They might sit it down next to their their kettle with their cup of tea, whatever. There's something physically there for them to go back to, and it's really important. I think it's one of the best returns on investment that you can get in terms of putting your message out there.
Yeah. I think there was a change in the way we do stuff. We've got a state-of-the-art digital press. We print everything from flyers to brochures in-house. If it's a larger run, then we know it's not cost effective to do it on a digital press, so we can do LIFO runs, thousands and thousands. People now like the touch and feel. They say with an email, your open rate, if you get in 5, 6, 7% open rate on a MailChimp, then that's good. Your return on an action, a print campaign, is a lot higher. They say with an email, you get 2 seconds of somebody's attention. I know for myself, my inbox, I get moaned by the team constantly because my inbox is constantly got emails in. I star it because I know I've got to go back to do it, or I print it off and stick it on my board, so I know I've got to act to it. But while I'm doing that, another email's come in. I've read my next email, I've scanned over the top of it and thought, I need to do that, or I need to do this. With print, it's a touchy-feely. People put more attention now into print and printed products. And it's, once again, it's using that data. If you've got a database of clients, we're doing a campaign at the moment that's going out there, possibly 4,000 people. So we're going to use that data. We can directly print addresses onto the flyers, print the postage information on there, goes out in the post. You don't even need to touch it as a customer. We'll manage all of that. It goes out in the post, and it could be an offer to say, yes, we're still open. It could be an offer. It could be something to say, website's open. Here's a promotion code. Put this code in the website and you're going to get 10% off your first order. Welcome back sort of thing. And that, once again, it's a very cost-effective way to reach your customers if you've got that data. If you've got that data to use from customers, and if you're allowed to use it, if they've given you permission to use it. GDPR is another conversation altogether. But that's something we can also help you with, and making sure that you're compliant. But with print, there's not the regulations like there is on other stuff. But so there's different ways to communicate with your customers, and now's the time to do it. So basically all that information, what we've just talked about, it's for success, for whether it's an e-commerce, I've said here for an e-commerce, but whether it's a brochure site, as we call them, or an e-commerce. We need to take all that information. We work with you on that information. What's best for you? How are you going to use it? Who your customers are? So for an e-commerce site, then we've got, how are you going to take payments? How are you going to do your thingy? How are you going to manage your deliveries? What social media you're going to talk to? Do you want to put offers on there? All that information is fed, and then we build the shop for you. And that's for us when the fun part comes, because we get to do the nice graphics and the training and working with you. And there's nothing better than launching a site. It's a bit like an expectant parent. You hit the launch button and you see the orders start coming in. And you get the phone call from the client to say, have you seen the site? There's 50 orders come in the last hour. And it's amazing, and you can see it growing and see the orders coming in, and you get the Facebook messages coming through saying, thanks a lot for your deliveries, really helped. And it's good. It's a good warm feeling when you can see it working, and your client's happy, and clients are making money, and we're making money, and everybody's happy. So I always use the terminology, probably showing my age a little bit, but it's not a field of dreams. Build it and they will not come unless you ask them to. You've got to do that promotion. We've talked about your social media. We've talked about MailChimp. So for Patterson's, we did thank you cards that go out of all their orders. We did flyers that go out. They've got 2 shops, and they put it into other shops, and it's saying, we are now live. Use print, press advertising. You've got to tell people it's there. You've got to tell people to come. And we can help you do that. Social media campaigns. And work with other people as well to help you do that. So it's not Field of Dreams. So if you've not seen the film, it's a good film. Watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But
Do you find, Simon, that there's lots of great businesses across Dumfries and Galloway that But that's the one thing they don't understand. They don't understand how to get their message. They don't understand how to get their brand and their product out into the wider audience. They know it's great, you know it's great, but there's just that they don't know how to explain that to somebody that they haven't met yet.
Yeah. We find that all the time. It is a scary thing. End of the day, you've got to invest money into an e-commerce site. You've got to invest time, and really it's the time you need to do that, because like I say, if you don't tell your clients that you're there, if you don't tell them what you're offering, you don't tell them, you just got to communicate with your customers. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen. And, people don't know what they don't know, and that's the difficult part. If you've got for example, if you're a current shop and you've got that footfall of people that have all of a sudden can't leave the house, can't come to your shop, you've got to tell them you're still here. If they were loyal customers before, they will still be loyal customers. So tell them, tell people you're still active, and get them to buy online. It is sometimes it can be a scary thing, but done correctly, choose the right company to work with, do your research. We certainly do our research first to make sure that we're going to give you the best possible solution for your business. I like things to run smoothly. I like clients to be happy, which is our key thing. Who doesn't like a happy client? And it's working with them. So that's what we like to do. So but you've got to, it's like everything. You will get out of it what you put in. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. A couple of other sites we've built e-commerce. But click on our website, click on our social media, give you other samples of what we've done. Any questions? Some examples there of there might be other questions, but how many products? Cost is always the big question. How much is it going to cost? We can have that conversation. More than happy to talk to people. It's always difficult to put it on because it's down to modules and what you want to use it. But I would say ballpark figure, a couple of grand is what you need to sort of invest into it. But it depends on what you want to get from the site.
I have had a couple of questions come in here, Simon. If I can just throw these in. How long does it take to get one up and running? So obviously here we are just now, week. I think it's week 9, week 10 of this situation we find ourselves in. If a business is sitting there this afternoon and says, something, I've done a little bit of stuff on eBay, I've done a little bit of stuff on Amazon, ready to take it to the next level. I actually want to get an e-commerce site for myself, want to get it up and running, picks up the phone to you this afternoon, says, Simon, let's have a conversation. How long does it take? Is it a long process?
No, not at all. Basically, what we would do, we'd have that conversation first, like I keep saying, figure out what you want from the site and how you want it to work. Once we've done that, we would decide how it's all going to work and what the functionalities need to be. Then we would design the site. While we're then making the design work, we can be working with you for adding products. The time-consuming part is always adding products, because that's what takes time to get the photographs, put a description, sort the prices out, sort your stock out. So I always say to clients, it's down to you. We can produce sites very quickly, produce the graphics and the branding and stuff like that very, very quickly. But it's always down, so we would probably train in stages and say, right, okay, at the moment, the most important thing is getting the products on there. There's pointless having a shop if you've got nothing on the shelves. So we would probably, while we're developing the graphic side of stuff, work with you and add in the products. There's a question there, how many products can I sell? We've got one press shop site that's got 8 products. We've got another site with hundreds and hundreds of products. We talked to a client, unfortunately, that project never went ahead. They decided not to do the business in the end. But we were looking to do one with about 24,000 products on. So there's no limit on products. What you need to look at is bandwidth and image sizes and stuff like that, but that's another conversation for going forward. So yeah, we can get one working as quick as you can basically put the time into it.
That's great. We've also got another question that came in here. Say, Simon, I currently have a shop with another provider, another business. It seems like much better having a conversation with you about other things. If I was to migrate to yourselves or another person, how easy is it to actually move the site from one business to another?
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, depends on where it's hosted and what the platform is. But because most of them are, there's not many people that have custom built shopping cart systems. They're normally built on an open source. Then yeah, it's easy to manage that. It doesn't cost a lot of money to move stuff over. Depends on what issues you've got. So that's just to have a conversation. More than happy to talk, and we can sort that out for you. But yeah, it's not a scary thing. It's not going to cost you thousands of pounds to move it over. It's a simple thing, and we can sort it out. The biggest thing is looking at what platform it's built on, what version it's built on, what you want to do with the site moving forward. So yeah, more than happy to talk.
If you do, of course, have any questions that come to you throughout the course of the day, Simon, more than happy to take those. His contact details at the bottom of that presentation there, simon@hoggettcreative.co.uk, and all the details available on the very easy to navigate Hoggett Creative website.
Thank you very much. Yeah, any questions? Please fire away.
Like I say, we've had those ones come in there as well. Okay, right, here's one. How important is it to have your social networks, your social feeds integrated into your website?
Oh, very, very important. Yeah. Facebook used to be an easy integration, whether it was a brochure site or whether it was an e-commerce, but there was an API, there was a scandal with vote rigging and stuff. So Facebook have changed it, but yeah, the way you can integrate into social media, especially with your e-commerce, the way you can automatically export your shop from your e-commerce site into your Facebook, and then good example is click on Hetland Garden Centre. They've got the top right hand side of their Facebook page. There's a shop now button, and it takes you directly to their website. Or on the left-hand side, it's got view the shop, and that's their online Facebook shop. That ties in directly with their e-commerce site. So if you want to share that product, or if you want to buy from the Facebook, it takes you directly to their website. But yeah, it's the way it integrates is really important. But you've also got to think about people that aren't on social media. How do you target those as well? Although yeah, majority of people are on social media.
Okay, next one we've got Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. I use them all on social, according to this question here. Should I be using one platform to share the same process over everything, or should I have dedicated messages on each site?
I suppose the simple question to that is, if you've got time to do different messages on different platforms, obviously they're all different. Instagram is more of your image, so more lifestyle-y. It is simple to share across everything. If you've got time to do that, I think you would get better results by sharing and aiming at those different markets. If you don't have time, then share across all of it. That's probably a simple question. So that one thing with the sites with PrestaShop is if you use Pinterest, depending on what your product, say it was a lifestyle product, or say it was I don't know, for example, baby products, and you're aiming at new parents, or wedding products, then a lot of people produce Pinterest boards. There's a way of linking your e-commerce site to your Pinterest, so people can say they see a product that you sell, and I would like that in the nursery, for example. Then there's a way of linking that to your Pinterest, so they can put it into their board and come back and buy it another date. So lots of things like that. It's all integrated in. So if you've got time, aim differently to do the different platforms. You'll get more out of it if you've got the time.
The next question that comes in is from Anne. She says, what is the minimum we should be putting on our website in relation to GDPR? So what should we? So I suppose that's if we're gathering data from our customers, from our clients, from people that are signing up for newsletters. What is the minimum we should put on there in regards to GDPR to keep us safe? Because also we'd need a statement that we're collecting that information, and what else?
It's a bit of a grey area really with websites, because you only need so it's all based around cookies. So there's cookie laws, and then there's GDPR. So the way we understand it, I'm not legally trained. All I know is what we do. So with GDPR and cookies, basically, is if it's an essential cookie, so that cookie is required for that site to work, then you don't need GDPR compliance for that cookie to work. So it's complied that it has to be there because the site won't work without it. If it's a shopping cart system, GDPR is about data protection. So for example, PayPal and Stripe, the way it works is it uses a token. So you go to the customer goes to the site, say that product is $10.99. They go through to the shopping cart basket. When they press pay, it sends a token from the e-commerce site to the payment module. So it leaves your site. You don't store any credit card details, any personal data on your site. It sends a token to the payment gateway. It then sends a token back to say that payment has been accepted. So in the back end of the site, you don't process an order until you know that payment's been accepted. It comes up with a big green button that says payment processed. Then you can print it, deliver it, ship it, do whatever you want to do with that order. If there's a payment issue for some reason, it will tell you there's a payment issue, so you can look into that and see what the issues are. So DD compliant from that, you don't need to worry because you're not storing any data, any personal data. It's not your responsibility. It's the responsibility of the merchant to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So the next one to come in is you mentioned video being so important, YouTube being the second largest search engine. Have you got any top tips on how you can utilize video for e-commerce?
Pardon me. Yeah. A good example of that, obviously, I'm talking a lot about Hetland because it's a live site and it's basically from a business that was closed and taking emails and phone calls to having a site that could quickly process orders and change it around. They're working very closely with Dumfries and Galloway, What's Going On. Derek produced a video for them. It was basically, they sent a mobile video of David at Hetland protecting all his plants because of the frost. Using fleece and saying use plastic bags, use fleece, use blankets, protect your bedding because we're going to get a couple of nights of hard frost. It built that trust because he was warning his clients that there was going to be potential frost. You need to protect your products that you've purchased. It was also selling the fleece. They sold out of fleece because people went, we need to protect our plants. We need to get the fleece. If you got any in stock, you could see that it was going through the people shop and people buying it. And that was just through a simple using the mobile phone. So you can link all your products through to Facebook, to videos. You can do product reviews. There's so much you can do now with any, and everybody's got a good camera now on their phone. Get your phone out and do it. It doesn't need to be, yes, we can come along and bring all the camera equipment and lighting and sound equipment and do proper production videos. But if it's a quick video that needs to be reactive, it's in your pocket. Get it out, record it, bang it onto social media, link it to your website. It's a good way of building that trust and building that rapport with your clients.
Just on that same point there, Simon, if you are doing those quick little snap videos as you are, but you do decide you want to edit them, you want to maybe put a bumper at the start, a bumper at the end, just with much like you've got on your PowerPoint presentation, your contact details or something like that. Is there a go-to piece of free software or something that everyone can use to actually get those messages on there, just to add those bumpers and those contact details?
There is. There's a really good free one out there, and I can't remember what it's called. I'll post it. Yes, there is a free one out there. We've got GoPros from when we're out doing photo shooting, and it came with the GoPro. You can actually download it and use it, and that's a good way of mixing your videos together. if you want to do an logo at the front and mix them together. But there is some free ones out there. You don't need to go down the route of proper Premiere and proper editing software. And it is about you're not looking at minutes and minutes of videos. It's about being quick and reactive. So yeah, there's three ones out. I'll find out what it was called, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
No worries. Of course, we will send that information out to everyone when we send out the presentation that Simon has done with us this morning. Simon, thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning. It's been great. There's been lots of little bits that I've picked up there. And again, I think everyone needs to stop and have a look at their own website before they decide how they want to progress. And most importantly, what I think that has come out of today is the fact you can sit and have those conversations with professionals such as yourself to actually make sure that your website and what you want to get out of it is going to be easily achievable and easily creatable and updatable as it goes along. Yeah it is. It's not as scary as people think. There's so many things I've not touched on. I'm sitting here now thinking, well, there's things that you can integrate the sites with eBay. You can integrate them directly with Amazon. There's so much more. There's so much more you could do, and that's really an hour of an overview. But yeah, if you want to sell online, give us a shout. We'll have that conversation, and happy to help. As Simon says, you can get in touch with him by visiting the website hoggettcreative.co.uk. All the questions, if you do have any, fire them over to him. He'll be more than happy to answer them. I've been Lee Med. This has been DGChamber. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. If you want to watch it again, you can do so from later on this afternoon. It'll be up on our YouTube channel. I'm sure that'll be a conversation Simon and I will be having another time. If you want to create some video content, we'll be doing stuff based around that. But again, if you do want to keep an eye on our own website, dgchamber.co.uk. We've got some more exciting webinars coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you all very much.